I'm trying to build a youth sports photography business here in Southwest Virginia. And not like a giant national brand, not some huge studio, just a local photography business that helps families get better sports photos than the blurry phone pictures that most parents end up with from the stands. And right now, I am in the early stages where every team, every parent order, every conversation, and every referral really matters. So in this video, I want to talk through what I'm building, why I think youth sports photography matters, what I learned from my first team picture day sales, and how I am trying to grow Costello Photography into a real local business. If you're a parent, a coach, a team parent, photographer, or just someone curious about building a small creative business, this is the behind the scenes version. So I run Costello Photography. I photograph youth sports, team pictures, like team picture days, athlete portraits, do some game action coverage, all in the Southwest Virginia area and kind of that surrounding area. And the main thing I photograph is sports, because sports are one of the things that move fast and disappear fast. And I just really like the engagement, and it's also an enjoyable thing for me to watch as a spectator. An athlete can have like a really great play, a great season, or just really important year in their life. And most families only have whatever they could catch from the bleachers on a cell phone. That is where professional sport photos can really mean something. It is not just about sharp images. It's about giving families something from a season that they can keep. One thing I have noticed is that parents are usually trying to do two things at once. And I really kind of felt that myself when I was first attending like cheer competitions for my daughter and things of that nature, is that I really wanted to capture certain moments. I really wanted to kind of memorialize those things and really make a big deal out of it, show her later. But I was too caught up in trying to pay attention and be present as a father to really try to take those specific photos. Or I felt like if I was going and taking those specific photos, then I couldn't really be as present as a father as I wanted to be. And then from what I've seen, the coaches have like a different problem altogether. The coaches and the other team parents already have enough to organize with practice and schedules and uniforms and messages and games, snacks, rosters, weather, everything, right? Team photos just become another complicated job for them, even though it would be really beneficial and really helpful and something that they could kind of take with them after the season's over. It just really often isn't in the cards for that group of people to manage. And that is really kind of, those two perspectives are the gap that I am trying to fill with Costello Photography. You know, I know parents want really good photos of their kids. I know coaches want the process to be super simple, and the teams need someone reliable who can show up, photograph the athletes, deliver the gallery, and make the ordering process as easy as possible. So let's talk about kind of what I've learned so far from my first sale. So the first real proof that this could work kind of came from photographing youth-based basketball teams, as well as kind of really, I did a football championship, which was super fun to do. And I was kind of with local media and stuff, so that also proved it to me. But these youth basketball teams, they weren't a huge job, but it was enough to show me that parents are willing to buy really good photos when the process is simple and the images are strong. You know, we had a bunch of different teams, a bunch of different athletes. But the big feedback that I got from parents was that these photos were better than they've seen from previous photographers, and the price wasn't something outrageous. It was around the same, and the ease with which to get it. You know, I think the old way for photographers was to kind of take the pictures, and you had to agree what you were going to buy and sign up for it and pay up front. And then sometime later, probably a couple weeks later, the images would be printed and delivered to the photographer, and they would get it to the coach, and the coach would have to divvy them out to the players and their team or their families, etc. I really kind of wanted to remove that barrier and make things a bit better, and also make it more consumer friendly to, like, you know, maybe you don't want to spend that kind of money on pictures if they're not that good. Maybe your son or daughter isn't in a great mood that day when you go to take those pictures, and the pictures just don't turn out that good, or maybe the photographer doesn't do that well that time. I kind of wanted to remove that barrier. So I set up my process to be around kind of sitting down and saying, okay, let's use technology to take this a step further, right? And so what I do is I come in, I take the pictures, And then I deliver a online gallery with the link with a password to the coach for him to just send out in a mass text or mass email to the team. And then they have 30 to 60 days to go out there, look at it, budget around what they want to buy. They get to see all the images of their child, and then they can bundle it however they want. They can buy digital prints, or they can buy prints of all different bundles and types, or they can just buy the digitals, right? So I tried to make that as smooth as possible and remove all of that friction. And what I found out with this first kind of testing bed group is that it was well received. It was like a phenomenal thing. I got lots of positive feedback about it. And I was a little worried that the old methodology was really built around guaranteeing a certain amount of revenue. But what I found across all these teams was that if your pictures are good and the barrier to purchase is small or non-existent, the families buy, and there's not a huge gap between the amount of children and parents that were there and that got their pictures taken as to who actually purchased. It was actually a pretty high kind of turnover or a conversion rate, if you will. So ultimately what that proved to me was that if I improve the offer, the follow-up, and the pricing, then the number of teams I reach, this can become a real like kind of monthly revenue stream for me. And that's kind of the stage I'm in now. Not pretending everything is already built. I'm actually trying to build it. So let's talk about kind of testing. The main offer that I'm testing right now is very much kind of a mimic of what I described I did in that testing bed, if you will. So I'm offering kind of a no-cost team picture day for local youth teams here. And the way it works is pretty simple. I come to the practice, gym, field, court, what have you, and I photograph each athlete individually, usually with a few clean portrait options, different poses, and then I also photograph the full team. Then I deliver the photos through a private online gallery, like I mentioned, and then obviously parents can buy digital images or print packages. And I'm testing this out with no upfront team fee because I do know that some of the other folks that are out there that do this, they charge an upfront fee kind of to the team or to the coach or in general to just show up. And I know that that's to mitigate the opportunity of you kind of going out there and not making any sales. But right now, I'm trying to get my business out there and I'm trying to get more exposure to it. So I don't want that barrier. I'm just trying to remove all the friction possible. But also, I really think that the photography speaks for itself. If you take good enough pictures, if you're good enough with those kids and help them get comfortable in those situations, and you take good enough photographs, then I feel like they kind of sell themselves. But, I don't know if I'll keep this kind of free thing forever, but I do know that's what I'm going to do for the foreseeable future. So another thing and kind of what really got me into this is the game coverage. That's where all the emotion is. That's where, if I'm honest, most of the enjoyment for me comes from, is being on the sidelines and getting those emotional, important moments of the scores or the negative situation that you're in, etc. All of that is so meaningful and so enjoyable to participate in. And that part is still part of what I'm doing. And it kind of is what drives me. I like taking pictures of the kids and I like portrait days, but the real fun for me is game coverage. And so that is still a big focal point for me. So game coverage kind of captures the season actually happening, if you will, all that celebration and the effort. And that's why I think I'm going to pair that with those kind of team picture days. Having one as the foundation, the other the story. And I feel like for most families, like both of those things matter. So what I plan on doing next is pretty straightforward. I am reaching out to local coaches, team parents, leagues, athletic contacts, etc. I need to keep improving on my website, obviously my content like this to get more people to understand what I'm doing and share the journey, if you will. And I need to be more consistent in posting and getting in front of the local communities through like Facebook and stuff like that. So the goal isn't to just take good photos, although that is a big important part. The goal is to build a reliable local business that families can trust and that I feel like people would recommend. So what you can expect here is that I'm going to keep documenting the process of building this business and what works and what does not, and what I learned from photography in a local sports setting. So if you want to follow along, subscribe. And if you're local and you know a coach, a team, parent or league organizer who needs a simpler picture day setup, then send them to me. So, signing out.